Hello and welcome back, everyone, for a new installment of our live stream series, Companies Committed to Latinos. This is a live stream that accompanies a web series by the same name. And today we have with us DeVry University representing Remberto Del Real. I hope I'm saying it right.
You got it
Remberto,
right.
how are you doing? Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks, Slays. Yes, I'm Remberto Del Real. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at DeVry. I'm in my fifth year here at DeVry. Yeah, I'm here representing our VRG, which is Society of Latinx. So we're very excited to be here with you today.
Remberto, you talked a little bit about the ERG name. Tell us about it. How do you know about it? How did you get involved?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, our ERG is Society of Latinx, or SOUL. It was
Sure.
founded in July of 2021, and we now have over 350 active members. So for us, SOUL is a place to come and experience Latino culture and heritage as its finest, as we say. So it's an inclusive environment for all of our colleagues to join and get a sense of what it means to be Hispanic. So our colleagues share real life stories. It provides networking opportunities and brings a sense of what we call familia to DeVry. And SOUL focuses on three pathways. Number one is comunidad, two is desarrollo, and three is diversión. So
Mm-hmm.
comunidad is really providing that sense of family and coming together as a community to align with our university's mission. And we do that through advocacy, volunteerism, and support. And desarrollo is really around professional and personal development and networking. And then diversión is how it sounds. It's diversión. We have some fun, but we do a lot of celebrating and bringing awareness to Latino culture. And one
Nice.
of the other things that we do with our ERG that has been really beneficial is we also view the leadership team in particular as a trusted advisor in forming our learner-facing, external-facing messaging that we bring to market. So, for example, we launched a NextGen program we called NextGen Hispanic Scholars Program, which is DeVry's commitment to closing the opportunity gap for Latinos in tech careers. So we help advance our Hispanic learners' ambitions into these tech careers, and we partner very closely with SOUL in the naming of the program, the messaging, the imagery, and I'm very pleased that we've got over 1,500 scholars now in that program, right? And that's thanks in
Wow.
large part to SOUL and their guidance as we started to go to market.
Well, congrats on that scholars program. It sounds really interesting. And for those of you who are interested in it, I will be sharing the link to it if you want to learn more. I know that you mentioned the scholars program, which helps Latinos who are starting their careers. But what about you? How has the ERG helped your careers specifically?
Yeah, so for me, I've been fortunate in that I've been able to work for several companies throughout my career that had Latino or Hispanic ERGs, and I always viewed those as opportunities to build skills that I wanted to build in a safe place. There's professional development opportunities, there's networking opportunities, so things you can tap into. But when I was developing leadership skills, or earlier in my career when I was an individual contributor, I stepped up to be a leader in the Hispanic ERG that I was a member of, right? So it gave me an opportunity where I wasn't leading others or managing others in the day to day to build those skills, and it was a safe place to do that. So I've tried to take advantage of that, and now as an executive, I try to show up and just give back to the next generation of the people that are coming up, and just help them understand how you can leverage these opportunities in the ERGs to help advance your career. The other thing that I would say, it also creates that sense of connection, right? And because there's not in my career that I haven't been in the room with many other Latinos or Hispanic in the room, so finding a place where we can connect, right, and have
Yeah.
similar life experiences has always been one of the things that's been beneficial for me. Some of my really good friends that to this day are friends that I made through Latino ERGs that I was a member of. Like, some came to my wedding, and we continue to stay in touch. It's been cool to see how everybody's careers have advanced and progressed from when we knew each other earlier in our career. So it's that part of it's helpful. The other thing that I always tell folks is, also be strategic with being and participating in a Latino ERG, in particular if you're a leader in an ERG,
Mm-hmm.
because you get access to executives that you might not otherwise have access to in your day-to-day role. Right?
That's
You might
true.
have access to the CEO. You might have small groups forum or meeting session with that CEO. So how think about how you show up in those conversations with those executives that you don't have regular access to, and then how can you parlay those opportunities into networking to help advance your career, right? Because these things are these are all extracurricular things that we all take on,
Right.
in addition to our day-to-day job. But you can also turn these into strategic assets that can help you further your career.
That's totally true. It is what you make of it, as they say. So I know that ERGs in general, it's kind of like you said, it's a volunteer and it's a passion project. So how does DeVry encourage their Latino executives to participate in the ERG?
Yeah, we here at DeVry, we encourage all of our executives to participate in our ERGs, and we've got many different ERGs that are available for us to participate in. But it's really our kind of company culture is really grounded in inclusivity and support and community, and so we're always encouraging our executives to participate. And participation can take many forms.
Yeah.
Right? You could be an executive sponsor of an ERG. You could participate in one of the events as a speaker, or you could participate in the events as a participant. Right? I think the important thing is creating space to be in the room and show up so that others see you in the room. Especially, I always tell my Latino peers that to me it's important to be in the room to demystify to a certain extent, hey, that I'm an executive, but you can be too. I'm no different than you. Like, I eat tamales like everybody else. That it's more about being present in the room and just being available for people and creating those
Mm-hmm.
connections to help people see like, hey, I can be in this kind of role down the road as well.
100%. And what about the people who can't be in the room? What about your remote workers? What do you do for people like that?
Yeah, so we're actually full remote. So all of our colleagues, our home office is here in Naperville, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago, and that's where many of our colleagues sit. But we are a national university. We have a very large and distributed national workforce. So as a result, the majority of our events that we do host are virtual. So we did,
Mm-hmm.
virtual salsa dancing, which is fun, and we do
Oh
all
yeah.
our, the trivia and things that we do virtually to try to create that connection with everybody being remote. But when we do in-person activities, we try to do them around things that we can all participate in. So, for example, DeVry is a national partner of the Boys and Girls Club. So earlier this year, we had a volunteer event with our local Boys and Girls Club in Elgin, Illinois, and then we encourage our members to get together in their respective locations and participate at a local Boys and Girls Club. So, even though we weren't together, all of us together in the same place, we were able to gather in smaller groups around the country and do similar volunteer activities.
I love that. A couple of people that I've interviewed have also mentioned a hybrid kind of situation where if you do an in-person, you also do kind of a live stream of sorts. So that's great. Do you know how a person could start an ERG? Let's say if I were to start my own ERG at my own company, what are the steps? What do you have any advice for even getting started?
Yeah, I mean, I think, but what I would say is like kind of foundational is we will work on the assumption that you work for an organization that fosters inclusivity, and is supportive, right? And so,
Mm-hmm.
which most companies are, thankfully,
Yeah.
and once you have that, is getting the executive buy-in and that support in order to be able to form the ERG. Like our company here, we have like that being committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion is something that is core to who we are as an institution. We last year named Veronica Calderon as our chief diversity, inclusion, and equity officer. So like another commitment that we made. And so we're kind of fortunate we have that kind of culture built in. Once you have that and you get the executive buy-in to do the ERG, then you have to have the members. So you need to have
Right.
leaders the folks who are going to, the folks that are going to do 90% of the work, right? Like in terms of like activating the membership base, creating the events. But those are typically the members that are really passionate about what that ERG is all about. And then once you have that group establishing, what we found to be successful here is establishing a charter, right? So what are the pathways that we stand for? What is the mission of the ERG, to really put that down on paper, to be the North Star for the ERG, and then assigning roles and responsibilities, right? So things like who's going to be doing communications and marketing, who's going to be doing membership drives, to try to get that engagement, who's going to be leading different events that we do throughout the year, and then the other key to success for us is having basically the roadmap for the year, right? Our content calendar, if you will, of what are the things that we're going to do. Obviously, Hispanic Heritage Month is very active time, but we've got planning and programming all around the year. We partner throughout the year with other ERGs. If there's a particular thing that they're leading, we will try to partner with them. And then the other feedback is recruiting the members, getting people that, finding those that want to raise their hand and say, hey, I want to be active in the ERG. And then finally, just getting feedback, right? So open loop of what's resonating, what do people want to see more of, how do we continue to build on the positive momentum, how do we continue to, I always tell the team, like, we raised the bar, now you've raised the bar even higher for next year, right? So how do we continue to do more and better, and to drive more engagement?
That's great insight and advice. Thank you. So aside from what you mentioned, the Scholars Program, tell me a little bit about this program that you're spearheading.
Yeah, so I was very excited. So we've launched a couple different Scholars Programs, and our Scholars Programs are really meant as a demonstration for how we're stepping up to close society's opportunity gap, which is core to our mission. So we have a Women in Tech Scholars Program that supports women pursuing careers in tech. We have our NextGen Hispanic Scholars Program, which is supporting Hispanic and Latino students that are pursuing careers in tech. And then we have our newer program, which is called Future Cyber Defenders. So that's open to people who are pursuing careers in cybersecurity, which is
amazing.
An important field. And each of those programs is a model where those scholars have dedicated support. They have access to mentors. They have access to community, so connection with others, that are like them in these programs to communicate on a regular basis. Because again, many of our students are distributed, so they're virtual. So we try to create that sense of community, and then we also provide our scholars with access to internships and job opportunities, right? So they get to see some of these opportunities as they come in from some of our employer partners. And the faculty was really supportive around these students to make sure we're helping those students be successful. And the results have been great. We've had a lot of interest in enrolling those in the programs. The outcomes that we're seeing have been very positive in that the students are performing and they're doing well.
That's great.
By having that support around them.
And that's year round, right? It's not just during
Absolutely,
Hispanic
that is our ongoing commitment to supporting. In the case of the NextGen Hispanic Scholars Program, there's an ongoing commitment to supporting Hispanic students as they basically, as they get into these programs, as they get into their career fields, as they come back to stack their degree to the next degree, and they can continue to advance their career. This is not something that we're just doing, for Hispanic Heritage Month. This is our ongoing commitment.
Remberto, and now in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, tell us a little bit about your cultural background.
Sure. So I'm Mexican. My parents are originally from Mexico. So I grew up at home. We grew up speaking Spanish with my mom and English with my dad. Because my dad, he came here when he was 5. And it's something now with our boys here at home. We talk a lot about what does it mean to be Hispanic? What are the opportunities that we have? Like how do we celebrate heritage and culture? We have we do eat a lot of salsa here at home on the salsa theme.
Yeah.
We like the boys and I will talk about basically if it's too spicy for me, it's too spicy for them. But they try, and we do try to celebrate our Latino heritage and our Mexican culture. We had some friends over recently, had a tacos on Mexican Independence Day, and it was a good time. So it's important to me. That was growing up. My extended family on my mom's side was in Mexico, and we spent summers going to Mexico. We spent a lot of time in Guadalajara, which I have a lot of family in. And I was, for me, it's important to continue to highlight that with my kids. I was the first person in my family to go to college, so I've seen what having access to education has done for me, and I know we're doing that for a lot of our students today. And so many of our students are like, they were like me, right? And for me, it's important that we do things like NextGen, that we do things like SOL to continue to support, others that are going through similar experience that I had when I was coming up in my career.
I love it. You're staying in touch with your roots and La Familia. Remberto, thank you so much for coming online with us during your lunch hour, and I appreciate all of the questions and all of the amazing work that DeVry is doing for the Latino community. For those of you who haven't checked out our web series, Companies Committed to Latinos, the link is in the event description if you want to check it out. And also, if you want to check out the Scholars Program by DeVry University, I will also be sharing that in the comment section. So thank you, Remberto. I appreciate your time, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Shalais. It was great.
You too. Bye.